everybody, welcome back to my kitchen. I have been percolating on this video series for a while now and I'm super excited to get started. So I had this epiphany when I was cleaning up my pantry, organizing, sorting, and realizing just how many low carb baking items I have. I have ordered all different things, experimenting with different recipes, and some recipes work out, and so there's certain ingredients that become part of my regular rotation and I order them consistently and I work through them. Then there are some other ingredients that tend to just sit on my pantry shelf for a really long time because the recipe maybe was fine or maybe it wasn't, and it's just not something that I revisit. And I figured that a lot of you guys are probably in a similar predicament. So what I want to do is take some of those ingredients and just scour the internet for other recipes that we can make using those ingredients, trying them out, kind of experimenting, finding out if they're worth making or not, and getting kind of a list of different recipes that we can use for using up different ingredients. So the first ingredient that I am looking to use up is psyllium. There is psyllium husk powder, which is this, and there is psyllium husk whole husk fiber. And the powder is just the powdered form of the whole husk fiber. So there are different recipes using either the powder or the husk, and sometimes they're not interchangeable. So it's always important to look for that. But I want to use up some psyllium. So I looked up a bunch of recipes, and the one we're gonna do today is a psyllium bun. And these were really popular in the low carb world quite a few years ago. I remember making them way back when. Now this recipe does have almond flour. Most of the recipes you find for psyllium husk bread or psyllium husk buns is gonna have almond flour in it. And I don't tend to like using a lot of almond flour. I don't care for a lot of it in my diet, but I can have some. And I figured in this instance, it's probably another one of those ingredients that a lot of you have in your hopefully fridge or freezer stored away that maybe you're looking for a way to use up as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this recipe with the almond flour. I am interested though, if these turn out really good and I wanna make them again, I may experiment with replacing some of the almond flour with like pork rind crumbs or something like that to see if I can bring down the nut amount in the recipe moving forward. But first things first, we're gonna make the recipe according to the instructions and see how it turns out. So this recipe is from My PCOS Kitchen. And the thing that I liked about this one, because there's a lot of recipes like this online, psyllium husk buns, I like this one because first of all, there's a whole bunch of different options. I know you can't see that, but there's multi-seed, cheddar rosemary, plain, cinnamon roll, maple walnut, everything but the bagel, olive, and azuki bean. I've never had an azuki bean bun before. But anyways, there's a lot of different options so you can play with this recipe and flavor it up the way you like. I am gonna be doing the multi-seed bread. I have lots of different seeds and things from my pantry. Also gonna use those from my pantry. And I thought it would be really fun to have a nice seeded bun. So we're gonna get started in a second, but before we do, let's say thank you to Element, who is the sponsor of today's video. Element has been a longtime supporter and sponsor of my channel, and I am so very grateful to them. I also absolutely love their product. I use it every day. I know I say that a lot, but it is true. I can't even remember a day that's gone by in the last year that I have not used a packet of Element. I drink at least one per day, and that helps me feel my best, especially as the weather gets warmer like it is right now. And I definitely feel good about using Element both for me and for my family because they don't put any junk in there. There's no artificial flavors or sweeteners. They just sweeten with stevia. There's no artificial colors, nothing weird, no junk, just the good stuff. So Element has a special deal for all of my viewers, both returning and new customers. So even if you've used this before, you can totally use it again. You can get a free sample pack with any of the drink mix purchases off of their website. All you have to do is use my link. It is drinkelement.com/indigo, drinklmnt.com/indigo. It's here on the screen and in the description. You can click it down in the description, go over to the website, place an order for any of the drink mixes, and you will automatically get the 8 sample pack included. While you're over there, make sure you check out their brand new sparkling electrolyte beverage. It's a ready to drink in a can electrolyte beverage. It's super convenient and super delicious. We have definitely been loving it this summer. First ingredient is 1 cup of almond flour. And then we're gonna do 2 tablespoons of psyllium husk powder. This recipe specifically calls for the powder, so that's what we're doing. 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Now, I didn't have black sesame seeds, but I had toasted sesame seeds and white. So I'm gonna do 1 teaspoon of the toasted sesame seeds in place of the black, and then 1 teaspoon of the white sesame seeds. Then we're gonna do 1 teaspoon of chia seeds, another thing I've had in my pantry forever that needs to get used up. Next is 2 teaspoons of sunflower seeds. And then we're doing 2 teaspoons of pumpkin seeds as well. Next is half a teaspoon of salt and half a teaspoon of garlic powder. And I just remembered I need to go preheat my oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Gonna give these dry ingredients a quick mix, make sure all these clumps are taken care of. It has been a really long time since I've had any kind of seeded bread. I've thought about doing an egg white bread that had a bunch of seeds and things, but just haven't gotten to it, so I'm actually really excited about these. Now for the wet ingredients, we're gonna start with 2 eggs, 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, and then we're gonna do 3 tablespoons of coconut oil. I have it melted here. I'm afraid it's just gonna harden up as soon as it hits the eggs. Although the eggs are at room temperature, so hopefully it'll be fine. We're gonna do 3 tablespoons of coconut oil. That worked fine. Now I'm gonna add the wet ingredients to the dry ingredients and get those mixed up. Another thing I love about this recipe is you don't have to whip egg whites. That makes me very happy these days. Now we're adding our boiling water. We're gonna do 3 tablespoons. And you're supposed to slowly mix it in, and the boiling water activates the psyllium, so it is important that the water is very hot. And it's supposed to thicken up in about a minute as that psyllium gets activated. I have my little pan ready with some parchment paper. And the batter is looking pretty thick. I'm gonna try portioning out with my ice cream scoop and see how that goes. You're supposed to make 5 rolls. All right, now I am going to just get these a little bit shaped into nice round dough balls. These are super cute. I think I'm gonna add a few seeds on the top just so they look really seedy. Seedy is not a good adjective, I just realized. Seeded. They look very seeded. I think these look super cute. I'm ready to throw them in the oven. Let's see how long. 25 minutes. All right, it has been 25 minutes and these look super cute. Let's see if they seem all the way done. Oh yeah, definitely not doughy. They got a nice little bounce to them. They rose a little bit. You can see they kind of cracked on the side. Not massively, but enough that I think they're gonna be soft. They're going to be denser than probably the egg white bread and definitely more calorie dense. So I was just thinking I got to be careful with these because this is a whole cup of almond flour in 5. When you make the egg white bread, especially when you make it with, without cheese and without a lot of butter, for me, I can just eat as much as I want and it still ends up being pretty low calorie because it's almost all protein. Something like this, I have to be a little more careful about because it is so calorie dense. It's got the coconut oil, so a lot of fat, along with the fat from the almond flour. So just a totally different kind of bread substitute. All right, I'm gonna break one open for you and I'll cut one so we can see the inside texture and then we'll give a taste test. Here's a little rip. Definitely has like a biscuity, dense texture, but it looks real nice inside. Definitely not eggy. There's only the 2 eggs in there. So that is nice. Ooh, that looks really good. It smells really good. I can definitely smell the garlic. All right, we'll do one quick cut here. Definitely getting biscuit vibes from this. That's the inside texture there. All right, little taste test here. It's got a nice chew to it, like a denser biscuit type texture. The seeds in there, really nice. The flavor is quite nice. These are very, very tasty. Definitely a win. I am still interested to see if I can replace some of that almond flour with some pork panko to reduce down the almond a little bit so it's not so heavy on the nuts. But the flavor is really good. The seeds in there are really good, but I do think the base of it would be really good with the other flavor options that were mentioned. I think it's an all-around delicious recipe. So if you happen to have these ingredients laying around, definitely recommend giving this a try if you need to use up some stuff from your pantry. I don't think that I would use these for a sandwich necessarily because they're a little dense for that. I do it more like on the side of some soup, maybe with some butter on it, or would be really good is some cream cheese because it does kind of have that denser texture like a bagel would. A sweet version of this, there was the cinnamon, I think it was the cinnamon version. That would be good with like a sweet cream cheese on it. So lots of options here. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for hanging out in the kitchen with me today, and I will see you again in the next video.